Packed up.
Yeah, let's flip through some of these real quick. This is just like some pictures we sent in before the podcast here. Here's this A-frame that we rented.
Yeah, that's the old Rockwood, I believe.
That was in Fargo where we rented that? Is that
We
right?
did. We rented that in Fargo, driving the old Ford Ranger.
Was there not a...
I don't...
Why did I think it was the right idea to pull it all the way across the state?
It seemed like that was the place to pick it up based on timing of getting there. I don't think we looked past there either to see that.
We probably could have looked in Bismarck.
There she is.
There's the campground.
All set up. Listen, at the end of the day, this camper was perfect, man. Had heat and AC. We hooked up water.
I don't know about perfect. The A-frame didn't work. Like the electricity.
Well, yeah, no, it was the hydraulics.
Took some brute force.
We had to hand force that thing up. The hydraulics were not working, but we got it together. Kept us dry. Perfect. This was base camp, right? It's the first day that we get there. At this point, nobody else was there. Son of a gun.
Yeah, so these are those bucks that it's not a great picture, but
a couple of those ones we found that first evening.
Yeah,
me putting stocks on. This is where I killed my buck, actually.
Yeah, just over that next coulee there, actually. Yep. In fact, Ian, who's running the camera? Yeah, Ian, if you zoom all the way up and to the left, see that fence line?
Yep, that's the fence
line. To private, right where that guy was hoarding all them deer.
And we kept. It was crazy because you see it's just wide open, but you're literally looking in all these shade pockets for these bucks to be bedded in, and you can move right up on them, you know?
Yep.
Took the buck down. So he was actually back behind me there. We had looked down over that edge. He was laying up under the shade there, shot straight down, and he ran out in this field and died.
You were rocking your Predator.
That's right. Yeah. Private land. Yep. There she be. With velvet on. Son of a bitch.
With velvet on. At least we can remember him that way.
Velvet and drop tines. Yep, carrying it out. You can see it was drying, like it was already starting to pill on the base, but it was still pretty velvety. So this is when we were starting to make our stock the next day.
This is pretty
for Jared's
far
buck.
down in there.
Yeah, where I'm pointing towards the river, which is way the hell down there still. But we're checking all of this stuff because any of these little shade pockets, we're learning the whole time we're hunting out there that these deer could just be, held up in there.
That's what I thought was interesting about this hunt, because I went into it having watched a bunch of those high country, and those guys are real set on, a certain basin, and they'll sit in just glass for hours and hours
until they see one.
So we're set up for that. Like I had my optics, I had tripod.
We needed to move.
Yeah, we were just like still hunting the whole time, basically.
And I mean, we covered ground, checking in. There's Jared's buck. Yeah, you can see the terrain behind it. And that buck was just laying on a hillside. There had to have been other bucks in there because we had watched, 7 or 8 bucks come across that river into this coulee area.
I don't think he was the biggest buck in that bottom.
But, I mean, once you see him, you kind of are committed to it, and you have to, stay on it and be like, that's the buck I'm going to approach, because who knows? These deer are just buried in some of these cracks, essentially, and crevices in the mountain that you just, you could walk right over them and not even see them.
Interesting to note just that, when the season date is really closely tied to when they're shedding out of velvet. So yours was
spot on.
I think it was maybe 30% of them were out.
Yeah, we saw the 2 bucks that we had jumped right before I shot mine. I think were both out.
They were?
Yeah, but that one was in.
The buck that I had stalked right before I shot this one
was in.
It was bigger than this one, I think.
Was in.
Was
of it. For sure. Yeah, and he had not been out very long.
No.
Obviously packing out.
In fact, I thought it was really cool. You remember the birds on his antlers?
Yeah,
picking
the velvet off, sitting right on his back, picking it off. So yeah, this is where Jared had a shot. And Ian, if you zoom in towards the river,
see him back here,
and go up right there. There's his body just kind of sitting there on the hillside there. Yep,
yeah,
right there. Go. And then that's the Little Missouri River.
So we watched them come across.
So we're on public here, and that's public in the background there. To the left, my left, that's, over there is where all the alfalfa fields and cattle fields were, that we would watch these deer from miles away, a mile away plus, feed, and then eventually drop into this river bottom, and we caught them by this little knob here.
I mean,
we saw them come up.
Can you just imagine, if we got to roughly this point right here and get up to where you can see that alfalfa,
watch them coming in,
and be able to see that at first light, where they come back in, there's no way you're not killing one right
there. Yeah, we're gonna have to hike back in there because I don't think the camp thing's gonna work. I bet they're gonna have fire warnings.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna have to hike back in there and be up in there. And again, you know, we're saying this deer is a 3-year-old. We don't really know, but let's assume so. A giant body on these things. Like for a 3-year-old, that deer was 300 pounds.
I feel pretty confident that he was 3. No older than that for sure.
Yeah, classic. There's our processing. See the amount of fat on this deer. This is September 4th or 5th probably at this point.
Yeah. Just straight alfalfa gut.
Just straight alfalfa, man. Just hammering.
He's eating some sage too.
Yep. But yeah, you can see the little Missouri in the river. We talked about potentially just because it seems to be our kayaking down that thing.
Do you see?
We watched deer moving back and forth.
You see, looking at that though, I just think you're too close. I think you're.
Yeah. I mean, you just don't know where they're at. Plus, it's just another thing to haul ass out there.
You can skip this one. Yeah, just skip it. This one's just a quick landscape thing. See what else you got.
I sent some too in teams as well. The cool thing about it is when you start to look at, and again, we have no idea what the hell we're doing out here. Like we've never been here. We've never seen that. You know, and it's just like there's us hiking out sunset. Like, dude, that's freaking beautiful through there. And there's big bucks in there, but you're going to work for them. There's that group. So we're sitting across. You can barely see the fence line in the foreground, but we're across from these things. And these bucks are just out there feeding, looking right at us. We're actually walking at this point, and they're just, oh, cool, you're on public? Yeah, I'm on private. And we're talking within 100 yards, like these deer easily. But this is also where that outfitter would drive this to make sure that he pushed them further south, basically, and away from the grasslands, which is public open area.
The strategy there was like you could see all these bucks making it out to the fields at last light, and we're like, where are they coming from?
Where are they coming from?
So we drop back all the way back behind, and we could see all these coolies on private, and it's like, oh, there's one. There's a group. There's a bunch of them. We saw a bunch of bucks that night.
And I mean, they come from a pretty far distance to get up into these feeding fields, these wheat fields, and eventually the alfalfa fields.
Probably half mile.
But the crazy thing is they're actually, from where these bucks are, there's a couple really good draws of cover there, but there's actually a lot of cover on the public. I easily think these bucks are probably at some point hopping that fence and being on public. You just have to catch it at the right time.
Yeah, I agree.
You're 100 yards from killing a 150 every time. It's just, do they jump or not? You know, so here's what these draws look like.
Where is that?
This is when we went way out to hunt. And we saw that giant whitetail. I was watching those 2 or 3 mule deer bucks at that far grouping of bushes and stuff.
Yep.
And so I'd set up here, and there's just a giant trail. You can kind of see it in this bottom. Giant trail that just ran this bottom. And I assume these bucks are just moving up and down, but I was watching those bucks way out there. And there ended up being one buck that was probably a 3-year-old, I bet. But we kind of looked at him, and then we saw that guy like walking way out in here. But
beautiful country though.
We saw more big. There's that.
There's yours.
Drop tine on the right side.
Very cool.
We saw more whitetails out there than we did muleys. It definitely got a little bit more sparse in terms of what we were seeing. Yep.
Sure.
You may have got 1 or 2 from me as well, Ian. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's it.
There you go. This is my recovery.
You look stoned.
Yeah. There we go.
What are we doing? The recovery?
The recovery. Oh, we're recovering. We don't have to go far.
Do I need to recap in here? Shot a big buck. I was standing right on this ledge. He was right on this bottom.
Oh.
And we came from that red rock. Do you see the red rock?
Yeah.
I freaking blitzed him. From the time that he closed this distance to this distance, 15 yards, I closed 150.
We're also 4 miles from the vehicle.
Also as far in public as you can go.
All right, man. Let's go get him. I could see rack already, dude, so that's a great sign.
No camo required.
Dude, that is a big muley. Yeah, oh yeah, there he goes.
Some blood there.
Yeah, man. How hard was it to find blood in this? It sucked it in.
Oh yeah, look how hard that is to see.
Yeah,
it sucks it right up.
Bone dry.
Well, he wasn't pouring, but could have been the differences in there.
I hope we never have to blood
dude,
trail
look
here.
right there.
Yeah, but I mean, both of ours went down in eyesight, which was nice.
Yeah.
That is a pig, man. Oh my god, dude. What a pig.
Fresh out.
That's awesome.
Oh.
How cool is that?
Man. He's still got a little velvet right on the back here. I gotta tell you, I didn't think that, look at, he's still eating. I didn't think that we'd be, look how big he is.
Like I couldn't even finish it. I was like, what was I trying to say?
Yeah, his body was enormous, man.
Those are,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Every bit of 14.
Yeah, 14 inches. What do you think he is? Probably mid 140s?
Yeah, I'd say probably 145 to 148.
Awesome.
What a toad of a body,
140.
I think we do a cool
Great.
pin here, man.
Yeah.
This where we're at, like where this happened. You can hear that wind just humming
Great shot,
too
dude.
out there. But like where we're standing was like it literally did exactly like we thought was gonna happen.
Here's where we're at.
Yeah, there you go.
This is the public side.
Oh,
You guys can see right here. That is the Little Missouri River coming down.
We're going back there, man.
Alfalfa on the other side.
4
so
months.
these bucks are
I mean, look at
laying
these
up in
bluffs
these
though.
Bluffs,
Like,
basically.
and that's some serious
Cutbacks.
terrain to get up in there.
And then you end up with this.
He did not like that rage. Look at what he was eating here. I don't know what that is, but sage, I guess.
We watched this deer for what?
Look at, he's got a low brow tone right there.
A good 45 minutes, at least.
See a velvet on the back?
Oh yeah. Those twos.
Good spread. I mean, what is he, 18?
That's awesome.
Take me